Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of December 3rd, 2022, and a date of marriage. I don't know the date of marriage because the date of marriage says December 2022 also. So she says she has a boomerang, but she's not familiar with energy level at this point. She says he moved out 3 weeks ago to a place in town. He came visiting briefly like a visitor. He refused to tell me where he lives. Just so you know, that's normal. They don't tell us where they live. I have talked about his affair and he's still denying, even with all my evidence. Yeah, that's also normal. He relocated so he can have all the privacy with his mistress. Oh, don't call her a mistress. Mistress is a kept woman. That's my personal thing. I mean, she's an alienator. She's a mate interloper. She's a mate predator. I finally told him to decide when he wants to make me and the children his priority. So that's a form of an ultimatum. Bomb drop was only a few months ago. He's not going to make you and the children his priority. And if next month he tells you he is, if this is a midlife crisis, that will not last. Even if he is being genuine in his effort and desire, he will get sucked back in. Whether it's to an alienator or just to his crisis or to his crisis on another alienator, because it's not about the alienator. There are others out there. Okay? I will not talk to him again. This is going to be difficult, but I need to start detaching for my sanity. You need to start detaching for many reasons. Okay? So in a moment, we'll go over what that really is. I don't know if this is a good step. Yeah. So he isn't really communicating before. I don't know where the before is, but will he stop completely? Oh, he hasn't been communicating yet so much. Will he stop completely now? Okay. Will he go into hiding completely? Who knows? How else can I handle the situation? This is strenuous on me in the marriage. So, yeah, it's strenuous on you in the marriage, but there isn't a marriage right now. It's going to be strenuous on you. And what I'm seeing in some of the way you're phrasing your questions and your statements about what's going on is that you haven't accepted and or understood MLC, midlife crisis, and what it is yet. And limerence. So if you have not yet enrolled in and listened to the videos for understanding midlife crisis, I'm going to recommend that you do that. Because it being strenuous on the marriage, and so you're thinking, I just need a solution to it so that it can stop being strenuous on the marriage. It's not going to. It's just not going to. Now that is with the if this is a midlife crisis. He's going to continue to deny the affair likely, but we can work around that. What you should be doing is not allowing that. In other words, yeah, you say that, but you and I both know it's not true. So the denial and the discussion of it is off the table because we already both know you're having an affair. End of discussion. Move on to the next topic. I am not your parent. But hey, I said end of discussion. I know it. You know it. Blah. Come on. Move on, buddy. You're not going to allow him to think that you're buying into that. What proof do you have? Well, right now, what proof I have is your behavior. It's really obvious. I mean, you're so lacking in insight that you can't tell, but everybody can tell. It might not hold up in court, but this isn't court, okay? So, that ultimatum. If you give them an ultimatum, and you included your children in that ultimatum, it's me or her type of thing. You need to decide when you're going to make us a priority. If you say it's me or her, they will choose the other person. Sometimes just out of spite because they were forced to choose. But also they're in limerence. Limerence wins. It shouldn't, but it does. Just like alcoholism wins when you're an active addict. Everyone out there is crying, please, you're ruining your family, your children, you're destroying everybody's lives. Alcohol wins. Limerence is a form of an addiction. The chemicals that are being released in his body. He will choose her. Okay? And I know that sucks. And I know that you might have children. It doesn't matter how needy they are. How, if you have a child with cancer, that could actually make it even worse, not help him come home. Limerence wins. And that's not because he's weak. It's because he's human. And we are wired with when those chemicals go off. So I like that you won't talk to him right now. That's a no contact. But you need to start detaching for your sanity, and you don't know if that's the right thing. Detachment is always the right thing, and here's why. Right now, there's connection and attachment, and those are two different things, sort of. We could have just switched the definitions. And as a foster parent, I was always taught about how attachment is such a great thing, and it is. There's a level of attachment, but there's also attachment, detachment. Put this on a spectrum. That's just linear. And you have attachment over here. You have dissociation over on the other end. So if you're too detached, dissociation. Too attached is pathological. You are codependent on each other. You can't live without each other. But attachment is also, you don't know where one starts and the other ends. If he's angry, then you become angry or scared. You have some reactive emotion that is because of his. And it was created by his emotion, not by purely from you. And that's where we don't know. We don't realize that that's either not us, or that his anger isn't our anger. His fear isn't our fear. It's beyond empathy. Empathy, you can still be detached and be able to have the compassion of understanding the feelings. It doesn't always mean you feel the feelings. When to be empathy with someone is understanding with compassion, a full spectrum of empathy. It doesn't mean when he's angry, I'm angry. It means I understand his anger. So we should always be detached, which is why I say it's not just for your sanity. So one of the examples I like to give is, imagine that you are a top heart surgeon, to the point that even in one of the largest areas, you're still the top one that they all want to come to. And you're a pediatric heart surgeon. Everybody wants you. Your child has a heart condition. And your child suddenly, emergency, needs surgery. And maybe at this point, you're the only one there. Maybe the other heart surgeon, they're on vacation anyway. Now, tell me how you're going to be. Are you going to be able to perform heart surgery on your 6-year-old child? Maybe. You might be able to, but you're not going to be able to do it if you are not able to detach emotionally. Now, let's separate it a little bit and say one of your child's best friends, they live around the corner. They're always over at your house. You love that little kid. That person has a heart condition. Are you going to be able to detach? Yeah, you're going to have a hard time detaching, but you're going to have an easier time detaching with that child than with your own. Now, imagine it's not somebody you know. You've now gotten to know this child because they've been your patient, but it wasn't somebody personal who was over at your house. It wasn't a niece, nephew, or your child's best friend. You met this child as a patient. Are you going to be able to detach? It's your job. That's what you do, right? You're a heart surgeon. And no matter what, you are emotionally invested with this child because they're your patient and they're a little kid. And you care. So let's go back to it being your child. Now imagine the surgery. Do you feel confident when your surgeon has hands that go like this? So it is a normal situation if you were the heart surgeon and it was your child that you wouldn't be able to detach. You have so much other things invested in it. And maybe, just like as a swimmer, I stand behind the blocks and I'm like, oh my God, I'm nervous. I gotta go to the bathroom. I just went because I knew I do. But as soon as I dive in the water, I'm fine. As soon as I dive in, all the nerves are no longer there now. And so maybe as soon as you get going on it, this is where you become calm. It might work. but is that a risk you're going to take with your child? But this is why detachment. If you can be detached as a heart surgeon, and it's not because you don't care. Detachment, it's not just about sanity. Detachment isn't about not caring. It is a good step because it allows you to live your life and function. It allows you to separate, disentangle your emotions from their emotions. And it allows you to be able to step back and recognize a situation more objectively. Not as perfectly as your friends can say, I can see into your situation, even though I can't see into mine. So sometimes you can be a great advisor to others, but when you have the same problem, you don't see it when it's up close. But detachment helps you to step back and see it a little bit better than when you're so close. Oh, I didn't realize. And now I see it. My friend, they're going through the same thing, and it's so obvious. When you can get a little bit more clarity in your situation like that, that's some detachment. When you can have your own emotions and know this is how I really feel. I'm not doing this because he came in and started screaming at me and I got reactive. And then, or he was so upset and I was scared with him that I couldn't function. That somebody was having a panic attack in an emergency and I just panicked with them. And so neither of us had the oxygen mask on. That oxygen mask puts that barrier of detachment so that you can survive. So I want you to learn about midlife crisis because it's going to be hard in your marriage. And I want you to learn what detachment is because it is vital. You don't get there without detaching. Now, sure, your spouse could come back and you could be reconciled, but it would not be what I consider it would lead to a successful, long-term, stable marriage. There are people who are married and they're not happily married for the rest of their lives. Or they're just the Bickersons, or they feel like they came back because of duty, or they had a gun to their head, or I'm only here because I'm supposed to be in the children and society tells me to. There are tons of unhappy marriages out there, or where the people in them pretend to be happy and aren't aware of what the real happiness could be. But you want the real thing, you detach. Okay, you detach whether you are standing, whether you are not standing, because it's what you need to survive and thrive. Whether surviving and thriving means as a divorced person who then moves on and may move toward other relationships, or as a stander who gets reconciled. Detachment is vital. Okay? I hope this is helpful, and I will see everybody in the next question.